Hello friends, welcome to part 2 of the React Redux series. So we will learn about the core concept of Redux now. As from in part 2 we have started with Redux, as I have told earlier that I'm going to tell about Redux first, means then we will go to React Redux. So then we'll understand better. So what is Redux core concept? So the Redux core concept is a store that holds the state of your application. There is a store which holds the state of your application, and an action that describes the changes in the state of the application. Then there is an action which describes the changes in the state of the application. Then there is a reducer which actually carries out the state transition depending on the action. So this is the third thing. So these three are the core concept of React. Store stores the state of your application. Action describes the action in the state of the application. Reducer which actually carries out the state transition depending upon the action. So we'll look into all of them. So Redux principle 1, the state of your whole application is stored as an object tree within a single store. So it is an object, actually the state of your application. Okay, so maintain our application state in a single object which would be managed by the Redux Store. So Redux Store maintain our whole application state in a single object which will be managed by Redux Store. So we are going to see an example of a shop, especially an egg shop. Let's assume that we are tracking the number of eggs in a shop. So this will be within an object and there will be number of eggs which is 100. So this might be our state for the egg shop. Okay, so we are doing it in an object, so it is there. Key value, key is number of eggs, value is 100. Okay, so now the Redux principle 2, the only way to change the state is to emit an action, an object describing what happened. So we need to emit an action. To update the state of our app, we need Redux to know about that with an action. We are not allowed to directly update the state object, so we need Redux to know about that action. Okay, so example, in the egg shop, we need the shopkeeper know about our action, and our action is buy egg. We are going to the shop and we are saying buy egg to the shopkeeper. So an action is been done. We go to the shop and tell the shopkeeper that we want to buy egg. So type is buy egg. So this is known as, so this is known as action. The action to update the state of our app, we need Redux to know about that with an action. Okay, so this is the action. So the next thing is to specify how the state tree is transformed by action. We write pure reducers. Yeah, we will learn to write all this, and once we learn to write all this, Redux will become very simple because it is a pattern, and every time the pattern will be the same. So the reducer is, we specify how the state tree is transformed by action. We need to write pure reducer. Reducer is previous state, comma action is new state. Okay, so new state means example of X shop is reducer. Who is the reducer? Reducer is the shopkeeper in our X shop. So const reducer is state, comma action, this switch action type, case buy egg, return number of egg, state dot number of egg -1. So the shopkeeper, he gives us the egg, so he will reduce the number of eggs from his shop. So this is known as reducer. Reducer is the shopkeeper. So we will have something like this, and in our shop example, the reducer will reduce it from the number of eggs and give it to us. So the reducer is the shopkeeper. Okay, so then three principle overview. This is JavaScript app. Then it will dispatch an action. Action will call a reducer. Reducer will change the state, and this is the Redux Store state. And another part of the JavaScript app, or the same app, means the same JavaScript app in React will see components, so the same JavaScript app will also subscribe to it, and the state got changed. So this cycle follows. Dispatch to an action, action changes, action sent to a reducer, reducer changes the state in the Redux Store, and it is gone back to the JavaScript app. So The first thing we are going to look is action, the only way our application can interact with the store. Carry some information from your app to the Redux store. Okay, and they are plain JavaScript object have a type property that indicates the type of the action being performed. The type property is typically defined as string constant. So we will first see the actions in action. So we'll go back to our application, which is nothing but index.js. Let me have some more space. Okay, so I'm back in index.js, and then here we're creating the action const actually we can have it completely const. Let me increase the font size. Const by egg equal to by egg. So we are using this, and so we have created an action, and then inside a curly bracket type is by egg. So by egg, this generally we generally do. I could have used this directly here, but this is not the convention. You'll see when we create a React Redux apps also, we will create a different file for that. Okay, so then comma info is buying egg, so like this. But we will use this action through something known as an action creator. It is a function which returns an action object. We are going through this because we like this in Redux, means we work like this in Redux. So and anyways, see it is not okay. So we will have a action creator, something known as action creator, which is nothing but a function which returns an action object. This object it will return. Okay, so let me do a function by egg. Let me have some space, and this will be return. Let me bring it up, and we are done with the action creator. Let me save it, and this is our action creator. So now we'll learn about the next thing, which is reducer. So what is the reducer? So reducers specify how the app state changes in response to the action sent to the store. So this action will send to the store. So reducer specify how our app state needed to be changed. Okay, function that accept state and action as argument and returns the next state of the application. So it will take the previous state and action, both of them it will take, and it will return us the new state. So this is the main purpose of the reducer. It will take the previous state and action and return us a new state. Okay, so we are now going to look into this. So for that, let us go back here. Okay, and now what we are going to do for reducers, we have to do a initial state. So const initial state equal to this num of x. So the initial state is that we have 100x. So this initial state we have to do, and now the reducer we will do. So reducer and const reducer equal to, this is a function, state comma action. As we have learned that state comma action it will take. Let me bring arrow function, and the state will be equal to initial state. So we are using default parameters here. So the state is initial state. If you pass something, then it becomes that. So this initial state is 100. So after that, generally reduces we create it inside a switch variable. Switch, we have switch for there can be different action creators. So for that we do switch, and generally there are different action creators. For that we use switch, and that is the industry standard. Action dot type case by egg. So this is the same thing like this case by egg. Okay, so case by egg is there, and then we will return a new state. So how do we return a new state? Return is there, dot state. So we'll take the old state, whatever it is there, the old state we will take by this spread operator, and then in that we'll only change the number of x, because this is for by egg. So in a Redux application there can be many state, so we have only number of x, so there can be many things. So this is how we do it. Dot state is there, and then so we don't want to change everything, we want to change only this state dot num of x minus 1. Okay, so and then it is done. But there is something else also. As with all switch statement, we need to have a default, and default is generally required here. So return state, the default is this return state. So we are done with the reducers also. Okay, so now we look into the next thing, which is the Redux Store. So Redux Store, we have only one store for the entire application will have. So what are its responsibility? Hold application state, allow access to state via get state. So we'll use this. Allow a state to be updated via dispatch. So dispatch is something, dispatch is a function which we'll see action. Register listener via subscriber. So as we've seen in that diagram, that subscriber are there. So that subscriber are also there. Handle unregistering of listener by the function returned by the subscriber. Okay, so it does a lot of thing. It allows access to the state, it allow it to be updated by the dispatch action, it allow to subscribe, it allow the application to subscribe to it. Okay, so next we will start it to the application. Okay, so for that we'll go up first and const Redux. So this is a Node.js application, so we cannot do import, require Redux. Okay, so this is like the import statement, and then const create store equal to Redux dot create store. So this is the function which we have. Let me have semicolon here if I have semicolon. Okay, so these two we have done. Redux dot create store, Redux gives us a nice function, Redux dot create store. Now we'll come back and const store equal to create store, and we have to pass the reducer here. Create store with the reducers, we have to pass clg in console log initial state comma store dot as get. So this we have learned. So how do you know the state? So store dot get state. So this function is store dot get state, we can know the state. Okay, so this is some of the function which Redux gives us. Const unsubscribe equal to store dot subscribe. console log updated state is store dot get state. Okay, so unsubscribe, so store dot subscribe, we have to do again a function, then it is running a function, updated state it is giving us, and the main thing store dot dispatch. So dispatches the action by egg. So what is this by egg? This function. So this is dispatched from here, store dot dispatch from here. So we'll buy egg 2 times, so means we'll buy 2x. Okay, so then on subscribe, so we're calling this function, so this function will be called after that. So create a store, this we are just this is not run now, so initial state this will run, then 2 time we are doing the dispatch. So what will this dispatch do? The dispatch will go here and dispatch this by egg. When the by egg will be dispatched, okay, so what happens, the reducer automatically will start, because the reducer catches whatever we send in the by egg. So dispatch, so and the dispatch method is important. So when we run that dispatch by egg, this will run reducer, and reducer will reduce 1 egg from the state and return that, and the new state will be returned, because this new state is returned. And so our updated state, this will run, and the update unsubscribe, and updated state will be the new value. Okay, so now we need to run our program, this how we need to run. So like this, node index and see initial state, let me bring it here. Initial state, this ran 100. Updated state, when we dispatched it, the whole process ran, and then the updated state it show 99, and then the updated state 98. So this is how the whole Redux application ran. So okay, so this complete our part 2 of the series React Redux. I will see you soon in part 3.